So here we are. We've got these thousands of manuscripts we're searching through. We found the name as of this recording. And by the time this is broadcast, it will be out of date. As of today, we have 1,034 manuscripts with the full vowels Yehovah, including 3 manuscripts with the Babylonian pointing. I mean, we've got as definitive evidence as you could possibly want. 16 rabbis, 1,034 manuscripts. We know his name is Yehovah. While I was searching for this information, I remember, well, let me just lay the cards on the table and be honest here. So T-Bone is this gentleman who's been helping me. There's a few other people. Dawn is this woman named Dawn, and Chris Clark has been helping. I mean, these are people who are out there saying, I saw this teaching that Nehemia did with Michael, or I saw some teaching Nehemia did on his website, nehemiaswall.com. He found these manuscripts. I want to find a manuscript. Okay, I can use all the help I can get, guys. And so it takes a certain amount of training. It's not easy because there's a lot of little dots and dashes. And so these people have come and contacted me. And for example, this woman, Dawn, I call her part of the 100 Club. There's 3 people in the world who have found 100 or more manuscripts with the full vowels. Me, T-Bone, and Dawn. Well, T-Bone, I'm with him over the summer in Israel, and T-Bone is a believer in Yeshua. And he says, Nehemia, we have all these manuscripts of the Old Testament that we have access to now at the National Library of Israel. Are there any manuscripts of the New Testament? And I say, well,
this is what you've been holding under for 18 years
right,
now.
Well, I said, okay. I do know about some manuscripts of the New Testament. Maybe we should look at those too. But here, being totally honest, laying my cards on the table, that wasn't my highest priority. My highest priority, coming from an Old Testament perspective, a Tanakh perspective as a Karaite Jew, is the name of the Father, Yehovah. I want to be sure that that is his name in as many sources as I can find. And look, we were looking for other pronunciations, right? I was looking for manuscripts that have Yahweh. Couldn't find any. No Hebrew Jewish manuscripts. And while we're doing this, T-Bone's kind of like, we call this in Hebrew nudnik. He's pestering me. He's this little nudnik jabbing me. New Testament, Gospels. I'm like, all right, let's open up my file from over a decade ago and see what we got. And we start pulling these things up. And one of the things that I had shared with you about, I didn't give you the details, is that I'd found a junk box in the Vatican. And the junk box in the Vatican had 4 pages from the Gospels in Hebrew, which I'm gonna save that. But before we get to that,
because I'm gonna have you read it, translate it, and I'm going to have everyone out there with their pen in hand to be able to correct their Bibles, because that's exactly what I did. The very first time that I saw this in front of me, Nehemia is translating it, and I'm marking my Bible. This is what I've been waiting for 20 years to be able to do this.
Well, now before we're going to get to that, I think we'll get to that. Before we get to that, I do want to share something that I found. So this is from the British Library. It's called Royal Manuscript 16A2. Anybody can go to the library website of the British Library and see this manuscript for themselves. And you look on folio 24R, and you'll find the Epistle of James in Hebrew. Now, is this a Hebrew original, or was it translated from Greek? That's very difficult to say. We don't know exactly how this even got into the royal collection. Some of the sources seem to indicate it was given as a gift to King Henry VIII. What's really interesting to me about it is that this script is not a typical script that would be used by Christian scholars. This is a script that was used by Sephardic Jews, very similar to what we call Rashi script, but it has certain characteristics that you can clearly identify. There's a Sephardic Jew who wrote this. And here we have a passage, Epistle of James, chapter 1, verse 7. And what do we have here? You can see it, people. Yehovah with the vowels. The same vowels we found in 1,034 Hebrew Bible manuscripts of the Old Testament, we now find in this manuscript of the Epistle of James in Hebrew. I mean, it's incredible. I want to share another one if you'll let me here.
Let me point out something on this. James, which he says he's a servant of Yeshua the Messiah to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Through the rest of his letter, there's nothing indicating that he's writing to believers even. He's stating that he is, but nothing else is indicative of that. In this this could be that he's writing this to Jewish people in the synagogues.
In other words, any Jew, whether you believed in Yeshua as the Messiah or not, would read the Epistle of James and be like, wow, this is some great stuff, right? Other than the opening line, there's no hint anywhere that there's anything uniquely what could later be called Christian in it, right?
Absolutely.
It's a purely Jewish message. Here's another one that I've shared before. This is another manuscript in the British Library, Sloan Manuscript 237. And here you have, I love it here. He starts out saying, in the English, based in the Greek, it says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. And the Hebrew says, Ani ha'alef v'hatav. I am the Aleph and the Tav. That's the first and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, right? Because Alpha and Omega is the first and the last letter of the Greek alphabet. Omer Yehovah ha'Elohim, says Yehovah God. And Yehovah there is with the vowels. I mean, it's quite clear here that they at least, let's say this is translated from Greek, which we don't know. If this is a Hebrew original, this is very exciting. But we can't say that 100% certain at this point. But it clearly is a Hebrew text that they understood that when it says Alpha and Omega in Hebrew, that's Ani, Aleph, and Tav. And that it talks about Lord God, that's Yehovah Elohim, which is quite clear when you study Hebrew documents.